Hello guys, this is CannibalChess, and in today's video I'm going to be showing y'all two games that I played against a 1400. It was unrated games, and I just wanted to show y'all how I went about playing this dude and just beating him in both games pretty easily. So I started out with d4. The first game I had the white pieces, so I played d4, wanting to have a queen's pawn opening, maybe a queen's gambit if he played a d5, and he does. So then I play pawn to c4, hoping that he'll take, but he doesn't. He plays bishop f5, so I just move my knight out, just continue in development, putting pressure on the d5 square. And here I thought, well, I mean, I could take on d5, and it would just be kind of an even position, but I wanted to play queen to b3 instead, so I could target the b7 pawn and also hit the d5 square again with another piece. And so here he doesn't have any more defenders that he can put in to help. I mean, he could have moved the knight to f6, but he didn't for some reason. But he could have tried that. Instead, he makes it to where I can get a pawn advantage, so I have an extra pawn. And I'm just deciding whether to take with the knight or the queen. I decide not to take with the knight because if I take with the knight, then I'm going to have to move back at some point, and then his queen could possibly take my my pawn on d4. So I just take with the queen and then kind of force a queen trade. So I kind of like my position here. The knight, it is kind of overdeveloped, like on the d5 square, because there's nothing really guarding it, and if he pushes something like c6, then I would easily be knocked back. Something like that wouldn't be very nice for my position, but other than that, I'm doing pretty well in this position right now. So I decide to move my bishop out because I see that, I mean, he could castle queenside, and I want to be able to already have pressure building on the diagonal that his king would be on. So I want to get my bishop out, and then that also allows me to possibly castle soon as well, if I want to do that. Or I could also move my rook on a1 to c1 if I wanted to, if he didn't end up castling, so I could have it on a semi-open file as well. So here he, instead of castling, he just defends the pawn with his rook, and then he kind of misses a tactic that I have here where I can, because I open the pawn up to e3, I can now take his knight, and even though he can take mine, then I can still take his rook as well, and then even if he takes my bishop, I'm still up the exchange. So he kind of missed that, which it's fine. It's an unrated game, so it's not like he's going to lose any rating from this, but it's just like if you would have thought, like, you know, a few seconds more, you probably would have seen it. But yeah, that's the tragedy of not taking a few extra seconds sometimes. And so he just resigns after a few more moves, I guess, because he saw that his position was just like falling apart. So on to the second game, and here he starts with the white pieces. He goes e4, so I go e5, just seeing what will happen. He plays the Wayward Queen attack, and I'm just shaking my head in the video because it's just like, why even play this? And so I go for the one of the defenses that I showed y'all inside my my most watched video about the Wayward Queen attack. So I just gave up the pawn to have like really fast development. And so now, as you can see, he doesn't hardly have any pieces out. His queen's just like on the side of the board, not really doing much. And so I'll have a pretty good game if I just keep the attacks going and be careful. So he's trying to develop his light square bishop to a better diagonal, maybe to hit my king, but we have to do a few trades in the center because I threatened one of his pawns, so he kind of had to take. So now I have my knight. I think it's on, well, it's basically on kind of the same square that it was on the other game, except for flipped. So it was attacking his queen, so he had to move. And now I'm just deciding whether I want to put it on d6 or f6. And both options look decent. I don't know. I wasn't sure if c5 would work. And I didn't want to like have the knight relying on the bishop for defense, so I just put it back on f6 just to be safe, because I knew that my position was better here, so I didn't want to risk anything. And he continues development, which is pretty good. I'm thinking of going rook e8, so I might have a discovered attack on the queen if I move the bishop, which is always kind of a nice thing to have. And he's continuing development, so he could maybe castle queenside. He really wants to castle queenside in all these games, but I mean, it makes sense. It is a very offensive move to castle queenside usually. And so I bring out my my dark square bishop and then attack his queen. And then I wanted to put my other bishop on the same kind of square, on the same row as the other bishop, just because it kind of looks cool, but it was actually not a very good move. It just kind of evened out the game again. So if played correctly, he could have drawn this game, but he didn't. By moving queen f4, it was kind of a mistake. So we do a few trades, and then I kind of get the upper hand here. He starts blundering quite a bit again, and at that point where he just kind of lost the queen, it's basically game over. And I understand like how it would be, like especially if you're playing an unrated game, you wouldn't be taking it too seriously, but I try and take all my games pretty seriously, and especially for him, since he lost the first game already, it can really, like, you know, make you feel bad for the next game. So you're already kind of in a bad mental state when you are playing the next game. So I'm sure that's partly why he lost this game pretty fast, because of the other one stuff, and who knows how he felt about that. But yeah, so I just clean up a few more pawns, threaten his rook, and yeah, so he moves over to try and defend. And I'm thinking at this point, like, how am I supposed to win this game, like, the quickest way possible? And so I just move my knight out, and then he takes my knight on g4, and then I just take the rook, because I guess he just didn't care at that point. So yeah, that was the 2 games that I played against him. I hope y'all enjoyed this video and found it helpful or just entertaining in general. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see y'all in the next one. Thanks.